Good evening to one and all present here. It's my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this August gathering today. The program is jointly organized by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Bengaluru and Yadalam Foundation. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor and pleasure to welcome you all to this special evening organized by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Today we gather here at Bhavan's Kincha Auditorium to explore and celebrate the profound teachings and scientific insights of Hindu tradition. This evening's program is part of the Sai Grace Foundation Endowment Program, Shri Yadalam Nanjaiah Setty Memorial Lecture. The topic for today's lecture is Science Behind Hindu Tradition. We are delighted to inform that today's program is being live streamed on Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's YouTube channel BVB Bengaluru. We kindly request all of you to kindly subscribe to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Bengaluru's YouTube channel to stay updated with all our activities. The Yadalam family, known for their philanthropic efforts and dedication to social cause, has been a pillar of support in various community initiatives. Their commitment to promoting education, culture, and spiritual growth is exemplified through the Sai Grace Foundation. The foundation organizes numerous social, educational, and charitable activities aimed at fostering community harmony and spiritual well-being. We are privileged to have with us Ms. Sinu Joseph, an esteemed educator, author, and renowned scholar of Sanatana Dharma. Ms. Joseph is the co-founder of Maitri Speaks Trust, where she blends traditional wisdom with modern practices to address the contemporary health issues. Her work has empowered countless women and enriched our understanding of our spiritual heritage. I would now like to request all the dignitaries to please come onto the dais. Ms. Sinu Joseph, our esteemed speaker of the evening. Shri K.G. Raghavan, Chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Bengaluru Kendra. Shri H.N. Suresh, Director of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Bengaluru Kendra. Shri Yadalam G. Ram Kumarji, onto the dais, please. I would like to bring to your kind attention again that the program is being live streamed on BVB Bengaluru's YouTube channel. I request all of you to kindly subscribe and share with your friends and family to stay updated with all our activities. We will begin this auspicious evening with Veda Parayana, a recitation of sacred Vedic hymns by students of Gautama Veda Patashala. Veda Parayana is a Vedic tradition of invocation that seeks to purify the atmosphere and invite divine blessings for the event. These ancient chants, passed down through generations, are recited with precise intonations. These have a profound spiritual impact. Please join me in welcoming the students of Gautama Veda Patashala.
शृणोतु वाग्देव्यै नमः वारस्य मा प्रसवेणोद्ग्राभेणोदग्रभीर अथा सपत्नावम् इन्द्रो मे निग्राभेणाधरावम् अकः उद्ग्राभम् च निग्राभम् च ब्रह्मदेवा अविमृधन् अथा सपत्नानिन्द्राग्नि मे विशोचीनान्यस्यता वसुभ्यस्त्वा रुद्रेभ्यस्त्वादित्येभ्यस्त्वाक्तवं बृहाणा वियन्तु वयः प्रजायोनिं मा निर्मक्षमाप्यायन्तामापौषधयो मरुतां पृषतयस्थदिवं गच्छततो नो वृष्टिमेरया आयुष्पा अग्ने स्यायुर्मे पाहि चक्षुष्पा अग्नेसि चक्षुर्मे पाहि ध्रुवासि यं परिधिं पर्यधत्था अग्ने देवपणिभिर्वीयमानः तन्त एतमनुजोषं भरामिने देशत्वदपचेतया तैयज्ञस्य पाथ उपसमितवं सर्गस्रामभागास्थेषा बृहन्तः प्रस्तरेष्ठा बर्हिषदश्च देव इमां वाचमभिविश्वे ऋणन्त आसद्यास्मिन् बर्हिषि वादयध्वमग्नेर्वामपन्नग्रहस्य सदसि सादयामि सुम्नाय सुम्निनि सुम्ने माधत्तं धुरिधुर्यौ पातमग्ने दब्धायो शीततनो पाहि माद्यदिवः पाहि प्रसिद्ध्यै पाहि दुरिष्ट्यै पाहि दुरध्वन्यै पाहि दुश्चरितार्थमिषन्नः पितुं कृणु सुषदायो निर्गस्वाहा देवा गातुमिदो गातुं वित्त्वा गातुमिदमनसस्पत इमन्नो देव देवेषु यज्ञस्वाहा वाचि स्वाहा वातेधाः अग्नेनय सुपथा राजे अस्मान् विश्वानि देवपयुनानि विद्वान् योऽध्यस्मज्जुहुराणमेनो भूयिष्ठां तेन उक्तिं विधेम आदेवानामपि पन्थामगन्मयच्छक्तवामतदनुप्रवोढुम् अग्निर्विद्वान् क्षयजाच्छेदुहोतासो अध्वरान् सरुतोन् कल्पयाति यद्वाहिष्ठन्तदग्नये बृहदर्च विभावसो महिषे वत्वद्रयस्त्वद्वाजा उदीरते अग्ने त्वं पारयानव्यो अस्मान् स्वस्तिभिरति दुर्गाणि विश्वा पूश्च पृथ्वी बहुलान उर्वी भवातोकायतनयाय शय्यो त्वमग्ने प्रतपा असि देव आमर्त्येष्वा त्वय्यज्ञेष्वीड्यः यद्वो वयं प्रमिनाम व्रतानि विदुषां देवा अविदुष्टरासः अग्निष्टद्विश्वमाप्रणाति विद्वान् येभिर्देवावं ऋतुभिः कल्पयाति हरिः ओम्।
I thank the students of Gautama Veda Patashala for that wonderful presentation. Your recitation has truly set a serene and sacred tone for this evening. The lighting of lamp is significant ritual that symbolizes dispelling of darkness and ushering in of knowledge and wisdom. It's a revered tradition in our Indian culture that marks the beginning of an auspicious event. We request the dignitaries on the dais to light the ceremonial lamp. I thank our esteemed dignitaries for lighting the lamp and inaugurating this auspicious event. The light of the lamp represents the light of knowledge, and we hope that today's program illuminates our mind and heart with wisdom. I now call Shri K.G. Raghavanji, Chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, to welcome you all and provide an introduction to today's program and our esteemed chief guest, Ms. Sinu Joseph. Please, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Respected speaker of the day, Ms. Sinu Joseph, members of the Yadalam family who have gathered here in large numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It is yet and again a privilege to be here year after year to welcome you all for this memorial lecture in the name of the doyen of the Yadalam family, Yadalam Nanjaiah Setty. The association of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan with the Yadalam family has been now for over a decade, and I think it is more than 15 years. On behalf of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, I thank the members of the Yadalam family for trusting Bhavan with such an important event, a lecture in memory of the great person belonging to the Yadalam family. Year after year, we have had the benefit of hearing learned and erudite scholars on various subjects, and I must very humbly acknowledge that we have been greatly benefited by what the Yadalam family is doing. Sir, thank you very much for what you are doing. You are not only contributing to the growth of Indian culture, but also, most importantly, you are telling the youth as to what is the quality of the great wealth that this country can legitimately claim as its own. It's a great service to the country. It's a great service to the humanity. And thank you once again. Today, we are all assembled to hear a very erudite scholar, an educationist, a philosopher, a writer, on a very, if I may say so, interesting and to a certain extent controversial subject on the science behind Sanatana Dharma. Now, what's the connection between science and Sanatana Dharma, one may ask? It is not capable of a direct answer. Sanatana Dharma, as you all know, is the righteous conduct which is eternal. It is easy to use these words and simply describe as to what is Sanatana Dharma. But in a given situation, what is that eternal value which comprises of Sanatana Dharma is a matter of debate. And that debate will linger on and on and on. We will never be able to find a solution. And as somebody said, by the time we find an answer to that question, God will change the questions. So, now, this concept of Sanatana Dharma is, of course, conditioned by what we may call as Kala, Desha, and Vartamana. What was right during the Treta Yuga may not be right today. What is right in Dwapara Yuga may not be right today. And what is right today may be wrong during those days. But having said that, between reconciling the concepts of science with Sanatana Dharma is another very complex subject, namely law. How do we reconcile law with the principles of Sanatana Dharma. And that takes me to the subject matter of your very popular book on Sabarimala. The restrictions imposed on entry of women of a particular age into the Sabarimala temple, does it have a scientific background, or is it simply part of one's practice or notion of what is religion? And add to all this the complication introduced by the term constitutional morality. And where does constitutional morality, Sanatana Dharma, science, and where will all this fit into this very difficult jigsaw puzzle? This is a very difficult task because, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that a society which is not founded on customs and traditions will not survive. You cannot have an orderly and a peaceful society unless it is built into our activity, into our conduct, notions of what is right and what is wrong. And that is Dharma. And what is right and what is wrong is an ever-changing concept. But having said that, there are certain eternal values of a changing society. And in fact, as you may all know, that is the title of a 3-volume book written by Swami Ranganathananda of Belur Mutt. The whole topic of those 3 volumes is, in spite of the changes in the society, what are the eternal values? And those eternal values are what is contained in Sanatana Dharma. And how those principles which are contained in Sanatana Dharma is backed by certain scientific principles is what we are going to hear from Sinu Joseph today. And we are all very eager to see how we can reconcile what on the face of it seems to be irreconcilable, namely science on the one hand and traditions on the other. And if we are able to successfully do it, every one of us will find peace. And that is what all of us, I am sure, are looking for. And we would love to hear you help us to reconcile these apparent conflicts between scientific principles and the rules of morality. And if we are able to do that, I think we will be a happier society. Ladies and gentlemen, I think at the end of today's talk, we will all go back with a lot more peace in our mind, with a lot less conflict in our mind. And that is the whole and sole purpose of this existence, namely to find peace within ourselves, shorn of all the controversies. Thank you very much, Ms. Sinu Joseph, for accepting to be here to speak to us on such a nuanced subject, and we look forward to your addressing us. I once again thank the Yadalam family for the grace they have bestowed on all of us by inviting such erudite scholars and speakers to speak to us year after year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raghavan sir, for your warm welcome and insightful introduction. Your words have set the perfect tone for our event today. We are truly honored by your presence. Your ongoing support and leadership are invaluable to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, inspiring us all with your vision and dedication. We are deeply grateful for your guidance. As a token of appreciation and respect, we would like to honor our distinguished guests. Their invaluable contribution to education, culture, and spiritual growth resonates profoundly, and we are deeply grateful for their presence here today. First, Ms. Sinu Joseph. A pioneering mensural educator and author, Sinu Joseph has revolutionized our understanding of mensural health through ancient Bharatiya wisdom. As the co-founder of Maitri Speaks and author of Woman and Shabrimala and Ritu Vidya, her research explores traditional mensural practices and their health impacts. Madam's work bridges tradition and modernity, offering profound insight and support to women across India. Through her study of Hindu temples and mensural restrictions, she reveals how these practices enhances women's well-being. To honor her transformative contributions, I invite Shri Subbaya Yadalamji to present a token of appreciation. Next, Shri K.G. Raghavan, an eminent jurist and esteemed chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Shri K.G. Raghavan stands as a steadfast pillar, championing the cause of education and preservation of our cultural heritage. Practicing law since 1976, he serves as a senior advocate before the High Court and Supreme Court of India. Mr. Raghavan's long-standing association with Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan includes roles as committee member and office bearer. He is currently the chairman of Bhavan Bengaluru's Kendra. His intellectual pursuits are vast, including writing for newspapers, magazines on a myriad topics such as current affairs, philosophical thought, and pressing contemporary issues. A scholar with profound knowledge in Vedic literature, he has recently bestowed upon us two notable works, Subhashitas, a collection of 100 verses with English explanations and simple and examples designed to be read over 100 days, and Sundarakanda, released to commemorate the auspicious Ayodhya Ram temple. His literary contributions resonate deeply with those who cherish cultural and philosophical enrichment. Thank you, sir. Next, we have the visionary director of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Shri H.N. Suresh. He is a beacon of dedication and inspiration, a celebrated painter and a respected art columnist. His expertise spans drawing, painting, sculpture, and art criticism. His editorial prowess is evident in his work with Karnataka Lalita Kala Academy and Karnataka Sangeeta and Nritya Academy, contributing significantly to the cultural tapestry. Swararaga Chitra is his recent work. Swararaga Chitra seamlessly blends the visual and auditory words, capturing the essence of Indian classical music and its concepts in vibrant hues and delicate brushstrokes. Each painting in this series is a visual symphony translating the melodic intricacies of ragas both in Carnatic and Hindustani music formats. These pieces currently gracing the Kincha hall, as you can see. Transcending the boundaries between sound and sight, the project includes a digital audio library which can be accessed by scanning the QR codes present along with the paintings. To honor his significant contribution, I invite Shri Giridhar Yadalamji to present the token of appreciation. We thank each one of you for your unwavering dedication and gracing us with your presence today. Your efforts continue to inspire us and enrich our community. The award of scholarship is an important tradition of this endowment program, which is aiming to support and encourage deserving students in their academic pursuits. Today, we are honored to have Shri Nishant Yadalamji to make the announcements. The scholarship will be handed over by Ms. Sinu Joseph.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to announce the Yadalam Nanjaiah Shetty Merit Scholarship for Boys and Yadalam Gangadhar Shetty Merit Scholarship for Girl awardees for the year 2024. The scholarships are given by Sai Grace Foundation. This is the 18th year of the scholarship program, which has benefited many meritorious students over the years towards their education. We would like to express our gratitude to Sir P.S. Venkatesh Babu for guiding and suggesting the candidates for this year. We have selected 20 deserving students this year and I request them to come up on stage and receive their scholarship checks from our chief guest, Ms. Sinu Joseph, as I announce their names. I would like to mention that all these students are top performers in their respective courses. The Yadalam Nanjaiah Shetty Merit Scholarship awardees are E. Vittal, pursuing BE CSDS at Dayanand Sagar College; Nirmit NS, pursuing Diploma in Electronics and Communication at Bangalore Institute; Vishal Kalyani, pursuing BE Aeronautical Engineering at Dayanand Sagar College; Sai Surya, pursuing BE CSDS at RNS Institute of Technology; Vishwanath S., pursuing BE Information Science at Global Academy of Technology; Manu N., pursuing BE Mechanical at RNS Institute of Technology; S. Vishnu Prasad, pursuing BE Aerospace at BMS College of Engineering; Neeraj VK, pursuing MCA at Presidency College; B. Suhas, pursuing BE Computer Science at DSATM College; Arya YP, pursuing Information Science at BMS College; The Yadalam Gangadhar Shetty Merit Scholarship awardees are Deekshita BS, pursuing BCom CA at Surana College; Swati BS, pursuing BE Civil Engineering at Vishwesharaya College of Engineering; Madhurima AP, pursuing BCom at BMS College of Commerce; Ruchita KC, pursuing Biotech Engineering at Oxford College of Engineering; Surabhi BV, pursuing BE Computer Science at BNM Institute of Technology; Krupa, pursuing BE AIML at BNM Institute of Technology; Akshata PS, pursuing BE Aerospace at ACS College of Engineering; Harika PM, pursuing BCA at BMS College for Women; Pallavi KG, pursuing MBBS at BGS Global Institute of Medical Sciences; Laisiri NM, pursuing BE Information Science at Dayanand Sagar College.
Congratulations to all the scholarship recipients. We wish you the very best in your academic endeavors and future success. The Veda Patashala donation is a notable initiative to support the preservation and propagation of Vedic knowledge. We have with us Shri Vijay Kumar Yadalam ji to make the announcements, and the check will be handed over by Shri Yadalam G Ram Kumar ji.
Good evening. I'm very happy to talk about the Gautama Veda Pathshala, which we have been supporting for the last many years. It's being run by Mr. Govind Sharma, who is dedicated for this cause. He does Purohitam, and through that he has supported this for so long. And this year he has completed construction of his own Gurukulam and named it Paramacharya Nilaya, which houses their residents, the living accommodation for the students, hall for the classes, and another hall for conducting so many scriptural studies and recitations. So it's our privilege to be assisting his efforts in this regard. And the hall where the students study is named after my dear father as Yadalam Gangadhar Shetty Hall. I'd like Mr. Govind Sharma to say a few words. What? Kannadadalli ಹೇಳಿ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದು?
ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣೇ ಧಾರಣಂ ಮೇ ಅಸ್ತ್ವನಿರಾಕರಣಂ ಧಾರಯಿತಾ ಭೂಯಾ ಸಂಕರ್ಣಯೋಶ್ಚ್ಯುತಂ ಮಾಚ್ಯೋಡ್ಭಂ ಮಮಾಮುಷ್ಯ ಓಂ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಒಂದು 20 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯಿತು. 20 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ವೇದಾಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದೆ. ನಾನು ಪೌರೋಹಿತ್ಯ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು 2 ಹುಡುಗರನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮನೇಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ವಿದ್ಯೆನ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಆ ಥರ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು. ಆ 2ರಿಂದ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ ಇವತ್ತು 20 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ 20 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯವರು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವರು ಈ ಪಾಠಶಾಲೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇವ್ರ ತಂದೆಯವರು ತುಂಬ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ಒಂದು 4 ಫ್ಲೋರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೋರ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಖರ್ಚಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಇವ್ರ ಕುಟುಂಬದವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಲ್ಲದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೂ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಓದೋಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೂ ತುಂಬ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷದ ವಿಷಯ. ನನಗೆ ಮಂತ್ರ ತುಂಬ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Thank you for this generous donation. Your supports help sustain the invaluable tradition of Vedic studies and ensures its continuity for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, I now welcome the highlight of the program is going to take place. We now come to the highlight of this evening's program. That is, it is with great pleasure that I invite Ms. Sinu Joseph to deliver the much anticipated endowment lecture on the intriguing topic, the science behind Hindu traditions. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Ms. Sinu Joseph.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha. Many of us may not be aware that today is a very, very auspicious day. We are currently in the Gupta Navaratri of Ashada Masam. And at 5:26 from Ashtami, we moved to Navami. And after this, Dakshinayana is starting. Very auspicious time. And it has begun in such a beautiful way with the Veda Parayana. Vidya samastastava devi bhedaha striyaha samasta sakala jagatsu. This is from Chandi in Markandeya Purana. It means all sciences are forms of Devi. And similarly, all women throughout the world are forms of Devi. So it is extremely apt that on this day of Navratri, we are going to talk about Vidya and Devi as science. When we say science, what comes to mind? An apple falling on the head of Newton. I think that opened his Sahasrara chakra and suddenly he said, gravity. In the West, after Newton, there was a great revolution in science. When they initially studied the particle nature of matter, they said, this is it. And then they said, no, but light behaves as particle and as waves. This is very strange. With lot of reluctance, this came to be accepted. And that is what we call quantum science. In the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, we started with quantum science. The well-known scientist Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Our rishis did not think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. They lived perceiving their body, the surrounding, and everything as energy, frequency, and vibration. All the great quantum scientists of the West have acknowledged the Vedas and the Upanishads as speaking to the advanced sciences that they were discovering with so much difficulty. Werner Heisenberg, he's known as the father of quantum science. He said, all that which looks ridiculous in quantum science makes sense when we understand Vedanta. He said this after a conversation with Rabindranath Tagore. Similar statements were made by almost all the well-known quantum physicists. Schrödinger, Einstein spoke so much about everything ultimately being vibration. Niels Bohr, whose Bohr's model of the atom we've all studied in school, he said, when I have a question, I go to the Upanishads. So it is well acknowledged and established that Vedas and Upanishads are the advanced science. There's no argument on that. But this should raise an interesting question in our mind. If the rishis of ancient Bharat already knew this, certainly we should see the application of it somewhere, no? So the modern scientists, they are doing quantum communication. There was a Nobel Prize for quantum teleportation. It is used in space research. In all sides of things, they are applying it. They are patenting this knowledge. And there is all kinds of costly equipment coming out of this advanced knowledge. What did our rishis do with it? When this thought comes, first everyone looks at Vimana Shastra. We must study that Pushpaka Vimana. Some quantum science might be there in it. But actually, the truth is a lot simpler than that. We find the application of advanced quantum mechanics in a book which is everybody's favorite, especially that of lawyers and those who want to look down upon Sanatana Dharma. Any idea the name of that book? Manusmriti. Manusmriti is the application of quantum mechanics. Because we do not understand science at that level, and our bodies are unable to experience it like the rishis did, and because we've only been trained to use the intellect and not go beyond it, all of it looks like superstition. In today's talk, if the Divine Mother permits, we will look at those practices in Sanatana Dharma, which is there in the Dharma Shastras. So Manusmriti is not the only Dharma Shastra. There are so many other books like that. We will look at that, not just as a theory. We will see how in our day-to-day lives we can experience this science. Science ultimately is the ability to explain a phenomena. And rather than the external explanations, once it is an experience in your body, you know it is real. When those little boys were here and they were chanting, some of you may have experienced the vibrations of that chant. Based on how subtle we are, we can experience this. Like the rishis, we can experience this conversation, this place, and each one of us as just vibration. If we live life like that, it is the quantum reality. And that is what Manusmriti and Dharma Shastras encourage us to do. In our tradition, Vidya has been broadly classified into two types, Aparavidya and Paravidya. Aparavidya is the knowledge from the Shastras. Shastra word literally means science, yet we think Dharma Shastra are codes of conduct or moral preachings. No. In fact, let's begin with the word Dharma. In Vaisheshika Sutra, which talks about the atomic theory of creation, Dharma is defined as that which is natural to a person or a substance. Natural means that which is biological. That is Dharma. So it is not some loose moral idea which will change with time. Why we call this Dharma as Sanatana? Sanatana means eternal, isn't it? What can be eternal? Can a philosophy be eternal? What Plato and Socrates said came out of their mind, out of their intellect. How can that be eternal? That which is eternal is only that which is a cosmic reality. The laws of nature are only eternal. That's why it is Sanatana. Otherwise, we would have said we belong to Puratana Dharma. We are all Puratanis. But with pride we say we are Sanatanis because we are followers of the most advanced science in existence. So Sanatana Dharma means those cosmic laws that are natural to those for whom the law is meant. So if you're a female, the Sri Dharma is the laws that are natural to the female body. If you're a man, based on certain other quantification of your subtle nature, there are different dharmas based on the varna. We will talk more in detail about varna as the most advanced scientific understanding of the human body. It has nothing, and I repeat with confidence, Dharma Shastra and Manusmriti has nothing to do with moral preaching, with code of conduct. This is the application of quantum mechanics in day-to-day life. That is the brilliance of the rishis. In Apara Vidya, we have Jyotisha Shastra, Vastu Shastra, Ayurveda, all the sciences that will teach you about your Sukshma Sharira and its interaction with the environment. This should come under quantum biology. But quantum physics has progressed, but biology is resisting this change for various reasons which we need not go into. But everything in the Shastras, as a Vidya of the body, is the quantum biological understanding. Now let's start understanding this. When we light a lamp, naturally our posture is, we do it with both hands, isn't it? One hand we touch over the other. Since childhood we've always been trained, give with your right hand. Never give anything with your left hand, is it not? Why? Why? This is where the quantum application of science lies. We are just not seeing it. Yatha brahmande tata pinde. Whatever is in the macrocosm also manifests in the microcosm in your body. So just as there are electric currents in the macrocosm, which we all recognize gravity, we recognize magnetism, we recognize electricity, the same thing is there in the body. Prana is the carrier of the current in the body. Current is nothing but the movement of electrons. In our body, the heart generates electrical pulses. Our bones are piezoelectric in nature, which means it generates current. Every time we listen to a chant, there is a certain vibration of the atoms in the body that generates a particular current. The human body is a well-recognized conductor, and there is current constantly flowing through the body. Our rishis recognized the large circuits of this flow of current as prana. In the upper body, prana enters through a marma here at the center of the palm, on the left hand. It travels through the heart and it comes out to the right hand. Only when we close the circuit will the current flow. So if you made some offering without closing the circuit, that offering is devoid of prana. So we call it ashubham, apavitram. These words are simply meaning this. Whatever gives off prana is shubham, pavitram. Whatever takes prana is ashubham, apavitram. So when you give with the right hand and your left hand touching it, you're closing the current circuit and prana flows. You're giving a blessing. When you take with the left hand, if you take with the left hand, you're taking prana away. So never take, never give with the left hand. Now, since this is a science, many of you may see, but we can't see it. Okay, so we will also do an experiment. I have not got the equipment for the experiment, but this is something you can all try at home. If you have a japamala made of any gemstone, gemstones are piezoelectric. Piezoelectric materials can detect magnetic fields. Just hold that japamala over your right palm. Just hold it, suspend it above it. You will see that it will rotate distinctly in a clockwise manner. It will sense the prana from your hand and the magnetic field created by that hand, and it will move clockwise. According to Fleming's law in physics, when the magnetic field is clockwise, the magnetic force extends outwards. So we give prana off when the field is clockwise from the right hand. So all blessings are like this. It's not a gesture, it is not symbolic. Based on the strength of your sankalp, prana literally goes from your hand to bless the one you have in mind. If you hold that same japamala over your left palm, surprisingly you will see that it will move anti-clockwise. On the left palm, the field is anti-clockwise. And according to Fleming's rule, when the magnetic field is anti-clockwise, the magnetic force acts inwards. It pulls prana in. So within the body itself, there are these two fields. The Dharma Shastras say that those who know Dharma will never use the right hand below the navel and the left hand above the navel. The first question is, what does Dharma have to do with it? If we think Dharma is just about good and bad conduct, why such weird specific instructions? But this was not about conduct. Dharma here means doing that which is most conducive to the biological makeup of the body. So just as there's this prana circuit in the upper body, there's a similar prana circuit in the lower body. You hold the japamala and point it to the left sole of the feet, it will move anti-clockwise. You hold it to the right sole of the feet, it will move clockwise. So here prana comes from the left feet, goes to the Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine and comes out from the right. There are these two prana circuits. So in the upper part of the body, the navel is where 72,000 nadis originate. Nadis are subtle channels that carry prana. And upper part of the body, prana moves upwards. So it is in tune with the prana of the right hand, which will not disturb it. Below the navel, prana moves downwards as apana. The apana name of prana is the equivalent of the gravitational force in the outer environment. So within the body also there's a gravitational force. It is called apana. So when we use the left hand below the navel, that outward going apana is reabsorbed into the body. If you use the right hand for the lower part of the body, you disturb that lower movement of prana. Consequently, all functions governed by it, urination, defecation, menstruation, normal birthing, everything is disturbed. That's why they say those who know Dharma will never use the right hand below the navel and the left above. This is all science. It just looks otherwise because we are not able to perceive this subtle science. When we do a namaste, there are so many philosophical meanings we've attached to namaste. They are all not incorrect. But in our tradition, philosophy rests on a foundation of advanced science. Because the language for this advanced science is so difficult. So we use philosophy. But philosophy is not a standalone. So when we do namaste, we are closing the circuit of prana. And when that happens, the heart opens. What opens in the heart? The heart chakra or the anahata chakra. Only when that opens will we feel the other person as part of ourselves. We say philosophically we do namaste because we recognize that this is also an Atma, this is also part of the divine. That's not an intellectual understanding. When we close the circuit, this opens, and then that bhava, that feeling comes. That's why we should do namaste properly, not with one hand, not holding something else in the hand. The other practice which is there is about touching the feet of others. We have attributed this as respect. But if you could experience the vibrations of those little boys who had come and were chanting here, actually, when they were here, we all should have stood up and their feet deserve to be touched by all of us. Why? They are not older, they are young children. Why? Padavandanam, Pada Namaskaram is a science. In Manusmriti and Apastamba Dharma Sutra, it is written, when a person of higher prana enters the room, if the person of lower prana does not stand up and touch the feet of the person with higher prana, they will lose their prana. Because prana rises to meet the prana of the person with higher vibration. Those little children who are so pure of mind and who had a far higher vibration than most of us, we all should have stood up and touched their feet. Not out of respect for them, for us to hold our prana in our body. This is given as the reason for why people's lifespan is reduced, because we don't do Abhivadana properly, we don't do Pada Namaskara properly. It was understood in this tradition that those who chant the Vedas, regardless of their age, carry a higher vibrational capacity. And because of that capacity in their body, they could drain the prana of those around us. To balance that out, we had to touch the feet. And how do we touch the feet? Remember, these are open ends of an electrical wire. We have to touch the feet in such a way that we close the circuit. So the right hand touches the right feet and the left hand touches the left feet. This is given in Manusmriti. Because only then will the circuit close and the current flow. And when you touch the feet in this manner, if you're sensitive enough, you will observe that there is a very subtle, gentle flow of current. And just as it happens between any two conducting materials, if one has higher voltage, other has lower voltage, when they come in contact, what happens? Both average out. So between two people also, if you have to interact and be in the same room with them, when the one with the lower prana touches the feet, both averages out. The one with the higher prana loses prana, of course. But for the sake of the person with the lower prana, the rules were made. All the rules in Manusmriti and in the Shastras in general are for the protection of the person for whom the rule is made. So the rule for women not entering Shabrimala is for their protection, because the minute they enter such a high vibration space, they would have severe and many times irreversible gynecological disorders. And I have the evidence of so many women unknowingly having entered such spaces and having had to do hysterectomies, remove their uterus. And they cannot come and talk about this publicly because it's so personal. And that's why there's no difference in Sanatana Dharma about what is religion, what is spirituality, what is law. Everything has its foundation in quantum science. If we understood that, the rest falls in place and there's no confusion. If we don't understand it, then take an attitude of surrender to the rishis who wrote it. The rishis were not intellectuals. They were enlightened beings, which means Devi, who is the repository of all knowledge, taught them through the experiences of their body, the subtle sciences, understanding which they wrote down the Shastras. Unless we reach that stage, for our own good, it is better to drop the arrogance and just follow the Shastras. Now we spoke about the clockwise field and the anti-clockwise field, which we can easily see with the Japamala. We'll tell you one more thing, which will greatly help you in your day-to-day life. After COVID especially, a lot of people feel very drained all the time, especially women. If you become little more sensitive through yoga or sadhana, it is a lot more that very easily you are drained. What is this draining? What is getting drained? Why are we so affected by the energies around us, and how can we protect ourselves from it? Our body is constantly generating currents, and consequently, there are magnetic fields. If you hold that same japamala in front of each of your chakras and see the way it is rotating, you will know whether your field is clockwise or anti-clockwise. Those who are into some form of sadhana may have most of their chakras going clockwise, but for almost everyone, unless you have gone beyond the body and become a self-realized master, if you have done that, then this rule doesn't apply to you. You can ignore it. But otherwise, if you still identify with your body, the region of the abdomen will be anti-clockwise for all of us. The field in the abdomen is anti-clockwise. This is called the Surya Mandala. From this region, we absorb, interact with all the vibrations in our environment. And as we become subtle, this interaction increases and our body keeps absorbing others' vibrations. What is this vibration? Light generates vibration, sound generates vibration, and thought generates vibration. In Sanatana Dharma, we understand sound as 4 levels of manifestation. First level, we call it paravak. There it is just about coming into manifest form. It occurs at the Mooladhara. Most people cannot experience it. The second form is where that becomes a thought. And we call this Pashyanti. It is experienced at the navel. You know, many women will say, I have this gut feeling about something. Yeah, women can recognize this. You are catching the vibration in its thought form in your gut. That is the second level of sound. When it goes from there, we next experience it at the Madhyama level, at the heart, as emotion, as feeling. Many mothers especially will know if something is not wrong with their child as a feeling in their heart. The heartbeat will start becoming, too fast. So we are recognizing this, but we feel it's just our thought, our superstitious beliefs. It's very real. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, and finally that same thought which becomes feeling finds expression, and then we say that it is a sound which we hear, Vaikhari Shabda. So at the level when it is thought and emotion, that is in this region between the navel and the heart, it's in the form of vibrations, which right now I'm sending it out. Some of you are sending some this way as well. Lot of times, what we go through, especially women, may not even be the thoughts and emotions they've generated from within. It's what they picked up from elsewhere. You know why women are called Grihalakshmi and everyone is so happy when a new bride comes home? Because she's literally a vacuum cleaner of vibration. She goes around cleaning that whole space of all the vibrations. That is why she was called Pujaniya. In Manusmriti it is said, no? Many people would know. Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devata. Where you worship women, there devatas reside. Where you don't worship women in your own home, not saying in the temple, where they are not treated as pujaniya, doesn't matter how many external rituals you do, nothing is going to bear fruit. Because right at the beginning we said, all women are forms of Devi. If you don't worship her, or at least treat her with respect, Devi's anugraha, do not ever hope to have it. So women's bodies especially are these vacuum cleaners of vibration. So how do we protect ourselves from? This happens to men also. It is just that men occupy themselves with so much of intellectual chatter in the mind that even though they are receiving this, the body is not recognizing anything because the mind is busy chattering. It's happening to men also. You won't believe it, but so many of the diseases that we are facing is because of the vibrations we are all picking up from around. So how do you protect ourselves? Just hold that japamala anti-clockwise. You're picking. So the way to protect ourselves, there are different levels of it. Once you go into sadhana, then your body behaves differently. But every ordinary person, the rishis gave a method. That is the way you wear your clothes, vastra dharana. The lower garment should always be worn between the legs. We see it only the archakas wearing it these days. Both men and women, when they wear the lower garment between the legs, either as the dhoti or the 9-yard sari in that form, if not that, at least the inner wear as the kaupinam, as the loin cloth. The minute there is a single piece of cloth going back and forth, that lower prana is regulated, and you will see that it rotates clockwise. Even your left palm will turn clockwise, and you will stop picking up vibrations from outside. Do it and see it. You will know. This is so important for all of us. And this was put as what? A cultural practice. Everyone wore the lower garment like that. In Karnataka, we call it Hanuman Kacham. No? So if you want to do a lot of physical work and you're feeling very drained, if you wear the lower garment very tightly, we also see this in the coastal areas, the way the fisher women wear it. If you wear it like that, very tightly, with the knot at the waist, that will energize your Mooladhara immensely. Not just energize your Mooladhara, but heal it. All the diseases associated with the lower organs, whether it's the kidneys or the urinary bladder or the reproductive organs, there would be more prana circulating to that region, and you will immediately experience the difference. If you start wearing the dhoti and the sari the traditional way, the first step is what? We tie a knot. There's so much science in that simple knot. So don't use safety pins for it. Learn to tie it with the knot. Women wear the sari with the knot to the right side, above the navel, not the way we wear the sari today, because the navel should never be exposed. From that region, we are picking up these vibrations. So cover the navel, wear the first knot on the right side, that presses the nabhi marma. There are 5 nabhi marmas, one at the navel and then surrounding it. It presses the nabhi marma, and with that first knot, if you are sensitive, you will immediately observe the upper left part of your body will have more prana flowing in the nadis. Your left nostril will suddenly breathe better. And the lower right part will have more prana, more current flowing. If you're subtle, you can observe this. Otherwise, also know that it happens. Because we can't experience something doesn't mean it is not happening. It is happening. Why? What's this thing? Why should the right lower and the left upper be active? Because when the prana and the currents flow in the body in this way, the Shiva Swarodaya text, which is about Swara Yoga, says, then and only then are the swaras considered as complete. When it flows in the lower part of the body to the right side, the Ida Nadi, we are equipped to do physically demanding work. When it flows on the left side in the upper part of the body, we are able to do rituals and subtler, more intuitive work. So there is a beautiful balance between the two. Those who officiate as priests in temples, the archakas, they wear the knot just below the navel very tightly. because in them the Sushumna Nadi has to open. So the Kundalini has to go up, and whatever they are offering, the prana should flow. So for each sampradaya, that knot itself is different. You will see for fisher women and agricultural labor communities, they'll tie it to the left side because they want more prana on that side for more physical work. There's so much science in the simple design of a sari, which we no longer even consider as worth wearing. Women who wear this regularly, in Tamil Nadu at least, they wear the madisar. And those women have said, frequent wearing of it, immediately noticeable thing for women, your menstrual cramps will reduce. If you've had irregular bleeding or any such problems, it gets fixed because it is touching all the marmas that regulate your reproductive health. Men who frequently wear this and who have a problem of frequent urination, they find that that problem is resolved. So if you have problems with the bladder, those get resolved. And that's why they wear it before sitting for rituals. You're able to sit longer. And more than anything else, at the energetic level, you stop interacting with things around. You will immediately notice that your prana is not being drained. No matter who you meet, you're not drained. You're able to hold your prana and help others. So this is something, a science, which is you can try, experience, and know it. The other thing, when we think that the Dharma Shastras are just moral codes, I'll tell you one rule in it about snanam, bathing. They say that women should never bathe without clothes. How do we normally decode this? You used to take bath outside, modesty is so important, women's safety. Correct. The very next verse says, even men should never bathe without clothes. How do we decode it now? Dharma. The science of our body, biology of our body. The Shastras say that no one who has a human body, male or female, should ever bathe naked. The lower garment, especially the loincloth, is a must, even if you're bathing in the house and pouring water over your head. If you're bathing in a river or a pond or something, it's very much necessity. And if you go to some religious place where there's a confluence of rivers or you do a samudra snana, even men of the Brahmana Varna should bathe with even the upper clothes on, and women should never wash their hair in such places. In fact, when it comes to samudra snana, they say if women have to do it, it is only for, it's part of Vidva Dharma. And if her son is not able to accompany her, she should at least take a calf along. So if we think this was for her protection, what will the calf do? How will it protect her? So science, it is science. It is not a moral instruction. What happens when we pour water on the body? And Shastras always prescribe that we pour cold water, neck and below. Slightly warm water, neck and below. The hair and the eyes and the face, it should not be warm water. Even if you're pouring warm water, after some time on the body, it turns cold, isn't it? So the effect of pouring water on the body is that it opens up the nadis. And a lot of prana starts to flow. And much of this flows downwards towards the reproductive region. And if the lower garment is not worn, especially between the legs, then we lose prana from there. A bath which is supposed to make us feel energized will actually make us feel very drained. Those who do yoga or through some form of sadhana have become subtle will notice this. If you take bath for a few days with clothes, and with clothes when I say the lower garment or the loincloth, women can wear a towel, and a few days without it, you will distinctly notice the difference. This is there in Dharma Shastras. And this was followed without questioning by our ancestors a few generations ago. Like this, just about every rule that is part of the tradition is a deep, profound science. Take the wearing of the tilaka itself. You know, it was even for women. If you're a follower of Vishnu, you had to wear the vertical tilaka, the urdhva pundram. If you are a follower of Shiva, you wear the 3 lines, the tripundrakam. The material you use for women is different. You don't use bhasma which has something been chanted to it. You just take the bhasma from the desi cow dung ash and you can use that, the vibhuti. They say that men who perform rituals without wearing any of the tilakas from their sampradaya, their offerings never go to the deity. They never reach the deity. It is pointless, it is fruitless. How can those 2 lines there make such a big difference? There are 3 important marma points here. Marma points, when we say, many of us may not recognize, but if I ask you, have you heard of acupressure? Oh, everyone knows. The Chinese borrowed it from our Marma Vidya. They did a very good job with traditional Chinese medicine. We know their traditions better than ours. We call ours as superstition very happily. We call theirs as science. So, marmas. So the first marma, at the point where the 2 eyebrows meet, it is a nasa mula marma. It is connected to the Mooladhara chakra. You go slightly above, that at this region where we call the 3rd eye, there is the Sthapani marma or the Agnya chakra, corresponds slightly above. And then here at the base of the hairline, all this in a straight line, that is the Kapala marma. When you draw it with the ring finger, there's a reason why we should use the ring finger like that, putting pressure. We pull prana from Mooladhara to Manipura. And there is a constant, gentle supply of prana in these 3 lower chakras, which energizes us to perform our day-to-day work and activities. This is for everybody, all normal people. If you wear the tilakam, you will know the difference. Now, those who are performing rituals, how does it help them? Advanced sadhaks will have an experience that when the kundalini rises up from the spine, along the sides of the spines, prana flows through 2 channels called Ida and Pingala, and it comes up from the head. And in Chinese, the Chinese people have nicely documented this as the Chinese meridian lines. So you will see exactly like the Vishnu's tilaka, there are meridian points. Ida and Pingala come like this. And we need to manually join them at the Nasa Mula so that it flows into Sushumna. At the center is Sushumna. And unless prana flows into Sushumna, your chakras don't open and you don't make contact with the deities. So the tilaka helps people who are unable to otherwise raise the kundalini, but just by wearing this and by chanting mantras, when prana flows, it merges here naturally into sushumnas and your offering is received. Some people extend the line, no? Till the mid-nose. In certain sampradayas, there is the tulsi leaf design and then you draw it down. That's also very important. To come back to normal working ability, you have to bring it back. So from Nasa Mula, you come to the midpoint of the nose, Nasa Arthra Marma. That will bring it till Manipura. We don't bring it till the tip of the nose because tip of the nose again sends it back to Mooladhara. Simple thing of 2 lines joined and stretched. What a great science. And all this we should know by wearing it. And you will begin to see the changes in your energy levels when we do it. We have become so wary of being called religious that we make all extra efforts to appear non-religious. And we are afraid to say that we follow some sampradaya. It is all a science. You know, there is a lady who cooks in our office. One day I overheard her telling someone on the phone, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ತೆಗಿರಿ, ಆ ಪರ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ತೆಗಿರಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ. Remove the buri nazar or drishti from this person. And she was explaining, telling her, use the broom and do it. So I asked her, can you explain to me how you remove this drishti? Then this otherwise quiet cook, her body language changed. She said, see, madam, first of all, not everyone can do it. Some of us know how to do it. I cannot tell you how we know, but we know. And then she said, we have to use this broom, not the usual broom, that kaddi parke, the one with the wood, we have to use that. I said, why? You can use plastic broom also. She said, no, don't ask such questions. You just listen. We have to use this broom. And then she demonstrated and showed, you have to do this, whatever. You have to pull it. I said, what are you pulling? She said, that is how it works. You see, as she was doing the demo and explaining, my mind, the whole quantum science of it was unraveling. What she is unable to express as language, but she is feeling, are the external particles of vibration on this person's electric field, which this piezoelectric material of the broom is able to attract and pull away. She is a great quantum scientist and who's hardly been to school. All the practices in Sanatana Dharma are like this. Those who know it will say, we know it, don't ask how. Because they are experiencing. The rest of us, neither are we learning the advanced science, nor are we making our body subtle enough to know it through experience. So naturally, it looks like superstition. Isn't it? Before we decided on this topic, the topic that was actually given was the science behind Hindu temples. I said, let's make it tradition so that we can give some information which everyone can immediately use and know the difference. But because that topic was suggested earlier, let's talk a little bit about Hindu temples and the science of it, which will make a lot of things clear in our mind. We all know somehow a Hindu temple is different from a Christian church or a mosque or a gurdwara, is it not? The difference is, in the temple, every part of it, every inch of it, every stone vibrates at a certain frequency. That frequency is put through the rituals using light, the arti, through the mantras, the sound, and also through the thought, which is the sankalpa. It is planned in such a way that every part of that temple vibrates at a certain frequency of vibration. We say frequency of vibration means it is measurable. It's not some vague thing. When a human walks in, all the atoms in our body begin to vibrate at that same frequency of that environment by virtue of the phenomenon called resonance. What is resonance? We've all studied in high school. Take a tuning fork, go tung, it will vibrate. Take another tuning fork, you don't do tung, but you bring it close to the first one, it will start vibrating, isn't it? This is only resonance. If there is something vibrating at a certain frequency, just by coming into that space, the other things, atoms also start vibrating at the same frequency. So the temples have the ability to impact our body's vibration. And different devatas are at different frequencies of vibration. Many people ask, why is Ganapati like this with the trunk and the ear, and what is that? So we make some story to silence them. But we feel that it's just a belief. There are distinct patterns that occur at distinct frequencies of sound. In the 1970s, there were some Western scientists who found this through experiments. They said as the frequency changed, the shapes were changing. You know, Ganapati is someone we can see in our meditation when we hit that frequency. Similarly, all the devatas, you can see them in the meditation when you touch that particular frequency. So they are very real. They are manifested forms of specific frequencies. Why is this important? Because all of us have an inherent resonant frequency, which is the maximum capacity at which your body can vibrate. And if you recognize this resonant frequency, we will make a set of rules for you suitable to that frequency, and we'll say, this is your dharma. So for women's frequency, there are certain, this is your dharma. Dharma means this is natural to your body. What happens when we exceed the body's resonant frequency? You've seen this, the opera singers, you know, high-pitched they sing. And sometimes when their voice becomes really shrill, the glass breaks. In fact, it's an experiment that you can try. What happens? At one point, the frequency of that matches the resonant frequency of the glass. And when it exceeds that, the glass just shatters. Because the atoms are not able to stay together, not able to hold itself together. Don't you think same thing will happen in our body if we exposed it to frequencies higher than our resonant frequency? What is that shattering that happens inside our body? This is basic laws of physics. There's an atom, electrons are happily moving around, it receives energy from outside, electron will naturally try to jump to the next higher energy level. If that atom has that higher energy level, well and good. If it doesn't have that orbit of that higher energy level, electron in the process of jumping there just falls off. An atom becomes an unstable free radical. This constantly happens in our body. When we expose our body to energy more than our resonant frequency, the atoms turn into free radicals, bodies goes into what we call oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is a leading cause for aging, for cancer, severe menstrual issues, infertility, and just about every form of disease. So, very important question. How do we know what is our maximum frequency? Is it same for all boys, same for all girls? This is the most advanced knowledge of the human body, which Western scientists are trying to figure out what is it that makes us different. Even when they administer sound therapies, they're doing many trials and errors, and they don't know why certain sounds are suitable to some, certain sounds are not suitable to others. This was decoded, cracked by our rishis and presented in the most misunderstood name of Varna Dharma. Varna is the expression of the natural frequency of vibration of humans. In Sanskrit, no word is given just like that, like my name. My parents put some weird name, Sinu. Some people say Sinu. It makes no difference because anyway, there's no meaning for it. But if this were a Sanskritam word, it would never be so meaningless. In Sanskritam, what does Varna mean? Think about it. In even all the regional languages, when you say Varna, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Color. What else comes to mind when we say Varna? See, in Lalita Sahasranamam, one of the names of Devi is Varnashrama Vidhayini. So when Devi is called Varnashrama Vidhayini, it is a clear hint that Varna and Ashrama are not social-made, man-made constructs. They are biological realities of the body. Devi is called Varnashrama Vidhayini. Devi is also called Varna Rupini. She's also called Matrika Varna Rupini. We've all heard of Varnamala. Alphabets also, that means we call Varna. Similarly, to describe something, we say Varnana, Varnane, description of something. We are describing thoughts, we are describing emotions. That is also Varna. So we have color, we have alphabets, and we have thoughts. All these three are called Varna. So the question is, what connects these three? And why three have the same name? If they have the same name, there's something else in common. And that commonality is all these three are fundamentally frequencies of vibration. Color is light, which is basically different frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. Sound, we know sound and alphabets as frequencies of vibrations alone. And the third is thought. So Varna's real meaning is vibration, frequency of vibration. And by perceiving this vibration as being different for 4 categories of people, Varna Dharma was introduced for the safety of those who had lower frequencies of vibration. Because if the frequency goes beyond what is natural to your body is going to break from within. So mantras were very specific to Varna, rituals very specific to Varna, and in some cases temples like Shabarimala. Women and the Shudra Varna largely operate from the lower frequencies of vibration because reproduction and reproductive health require the creative frequencies which are of a lower quality in terms of its nature. It is not good or bad, not in that sense. Higher frequency, lower frequency. If time permits, we'll explain that little more. Whereas certain temples where the deity is vibrating at a higher frequency, if a woman or certain other people who are not of that frequency walk in, see in Shabarimala, people of all Varna, men of all Varna can go, but only those who do the 45-day vrata are allowed to climb the 18 steps and have the darshan. Others actually should not. They are violating it, it's a different matter. But the rule book does not permit even men who don't do vrata. Why? Because to that vrata, you temporarily at least increase the body's vibration to be able to withstand it. And the other thing is, what are you increasing the vibration and withstanding it for what? Why do we go to Shabarimala? In Malayalam we say, Swamiye Kandal Moksham Kittum. If you see Swami, you get moksham. You're going there to drop the body. So in that circumstance, even if a person of lower vibration does the vrata and is able to go, it's said to be okay because he's doing it to drop the body. Those who properly follow the vrata will not be able to remain in the body for more than 6 months to 1 year if they do it properly, because that's how the vibration there is. This is how the rules have come about in the Dharma Shastra texts. What is law is deeply based on advanced science, experiential science. And Varna, this most misunderstood concept, was that which protected everyone in society, maintained their health in a way that it is optimal for everyone. There was a recent news, I don't know how far it's true, that India has one of the highest cases of cancer. And oxidative stress is one of the most obvious things that you will see in all cancer cases. It doesn't matter in other countries because their tradition was not built around rituals, by understanding vibrations, by employing mantras, by building temples specific to vibration. It doesn't matter there. But in India, every second lane there is a temple, no? Everything we do in day-to-day life, knowingly or unknowingly, is based on vibration. So if we remain unaware of this, at every point we are putting our health at risk. Just if a person of the Shudra Varna frequently goes to a temple which is much higher frequency than his body, it can drive him into an oxidative stress so bad that it manifests even as cancer. And I'm saying this with a certain confidence because so many women from well-known ashrams who have been taught kriyas which were never prescribed for women developed cancer. And the cause for this cancer, the doctors say, we don't know. There's a woman who was keeping a Shaligrama stone in her home, in her bedroom, and remained there even while menstruating because she was told, just have bhakti, all this is fine. Shaligrama stone is such a high vibration. If you keep it in your home, you better follow everything. Otherwise, it will suck all the prana away. And throws your body into such, in villages in Karnataka, in any home, if there is a Shaligrama stone, women go outside the door during their period. They will not at all. You ask them why. No, puja room alli Shaligrama kallide. They know it. Your body can't handle it. Many people are taking and keeping yantras in their homes. What is the frequency at which that yantra is vibrating? Is it matching yours? Are you able to feed that source of prana? It is a source of prana. It requires prana to be maintained, otherwise it will drain the prana from the people of the house. There are some temples, like the Kamakhya temple, where it is part of the rule that bali must be done. Do you know what will happen if that bali stops? The energy there is so high that it needs prana to sustain. If you stop giving it prana, it will take prana from its surrounding. And we see this in some villages where the temples are in bad shape, not maintained well. All the people in the vicinity are sick in one way or the other. The temples were the centers of life and life energy. We have to maintain them in the prescribed way with the prescribed rituals, and it is utter foolishness to argue about why we need this, because it's going to affect our own health. The deity will be fine. Deity will be fine. There was recently this people arguing that people of all varna should be allowed to officiate as the tantri in Shabrimala. Shabrimala is for moksha, highest vibration. Even among Brahmins, not everyone can officiate there. So in Kerala, even among Nambudris, there are some 10, 12 classes and categories. And only the highest of those can enter that space. If anyone of a lower vibration goes there, one, the place's vibration is changed, obviously. Secondly, that person's body will go into oxidative stress. They will have diseases one after the other manifesting because of it. And the rules in the Shastras were for that person's protection. Temple and deity, Devi doesn't need us. We need her. There's a story about Swami Vivekananda. Towards the end, he was in one of the temples, I think in Kashmir, and he saw that it was so badly damaged. And he felt so bad, and he was telling Devi, Mother, if I was there, I wouldn't have let this happen. And Mother said, are you protecting me or am I protecting you? And in that moment, he just dropped all this thing of, I must do this, I must do that. Who are we to do anything? If we have Devi's grace in our life, we will have the sense to bow down to the knowledge of the rishis without questioning. Because if we question, then we must go the whole distance. That's a responsibility every questioner must take. You want to ask a question, why women should not go? Take the responsibility to find the answer. Otherwise, don't question. Because these are not rules made using the intellect. These are made by enlightened beings for the purpose of enabling every person of every varna to reach moksha. You must have this body, no, to be able to reach the Lord. Midway itself, if the body is having disease and cancer and falling off, what will you do? Almost all the sadhana prescribed for women today in all the popular ashrams are absolutely against the body's dharma, the biology of the woman. Yes, equality is very beautiful. You know what sort of equality? The one where we drop the body identity and we are able to see and experience another as ourselves. Any equality other than that is just superficial. But to reach that body point where you drop the body, you first need the body in good health. That's why we had the Shastras. Wear the proper lower garment, wear the proper tilakam, take bath properly, keep your prana so that you have the energy to carry out your swadharma. And that swadharma itself will take you towards moksha. You don't need, just not that everybody in Bharat was doing yoga. Come on. How many of you remember your grandmothers doing yoga? There are two asanas, however, which are there for women. They do it while applying the rangoli, either Pada Hastasana or Malasana. These are the two ideal yogasanas for women. If they do this, they're fine. But making them stand on their head, do all sorts of stunts, and women, more than half the class of women who get trained in Hatha Yoga stop menstruating. Is this our idea of equality? That the female body is becoming more and more like the male body? If they start entering Sabrimala, you can guarantee say that they will also lose their uterus. Do they then become equal to men? We have to be so careful when we question Sanatana Dharma. It is Sanatana because it is science, not any ordinary science, the most advanced understanding of quantum science. Our rishis were quantum physicists. Our grandmothers were quantum physicists. This understanding must sink in very, very, very deeply. May Devi's anugraha be on all of us so that our limited understanding is transformed into her unlimited jnana. It can only happen by her grace and if she wishes. May that happen for all of us. I will pause here if there are any questions that anyone would like to ask, and if there is room for taking questions, sir. Okay. If there is, then we will take a few questions and we will see how to answer them. Is there a mic that can go around?
I'm Sumana. Good evening to everybody. Yeah. Uh, I'm Sumana. Yeah. Just now you told that women need not do yoga asanas. So is it true? I mean, yoga is not for women, according to you?
No, nothing I said is according to me. It is according to the Shastras. That's the first thing. I have no personal opinion, please. It is not a personal opinion. I am only trying to convey what the rishis have said. Ma'am, please be seated. I will explain.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, these texts were for men. And even the men who did it had to follow such strict discipline. They had to stay away from samsara. They had to practice brahmacharya because the purpose was to make it easier for the Kundalini to rise and to attain moksha. That was the purpose. Shouldn't this happen in a woman's body too? It should. And the beautiful part which we don't realize is men need yoga because the rising of the Kundalini does not happen for them without it. For women, just the biological processes has the same effect to raise the Kundalini to the level which is natural for them. When we menstruate, the first period itself, the Kundalini awakens from the Mooladhara. Girls who have difficult periods, that is because of not following the practices and the Kundalini struggling to rise. The minute they start following Rajaswala Dharma, which is the rules for menstruation given in Manusmriti and others, then the nadis clear up. For men, because that doesn't happen, they have to do pranayama and all that to clear the nadis. This is the first level. From the Mooladhara, it has to rise to Swadhisthana at the reproductive region. Again, men need yoga for it. For women, when they get married, through a healthy channeling of the sexuality, the Swadhisthana chakra blossoms. Men have to practice brahmacharya for that. Women have to practice pativrata dharma for it. Because biologically, a man's sexuality is associated with the mind, a woman's with her body. A woman's sexual processes are linked to her reproductive health, not so necessarily for a man. From the Swadhisthana, Kundalini has to rise to Manipura. For men, they have to do a lot of yoga and tapas for it. For a woman, she has to have a child. 9 months of pregnancy, Kundalini from the Nabhi is connected to the infant. Naturally, she has risen to that stage which yogis struggle to do. So naturally, the qualities of Kundalini at Manipura will manifest in a pregnant woman. That's why we consider pregnant women as very divine, don't we? Because at that level, there should be a natural vairagya from all worldly things. So hard for men to let go of worldly matters. Woman gets pregnant, she just drops it like that. The child becomes everything. Kundalini has risen to Manipura. When she becomes a mother and breastfeeds, what do you think? She's giving the child milk? It is prana from the open anahata. Men have to do years of tapas to raise the Kundalini to anahata. A woman, by having a child and breastfeeding the baby, experiences that just like that. So mothers in this tradition were always considered as divine. Already her awareness is operating at the heart. She's a mother. That means there is enormous feeling of compassion. If she does not confuse herself with worldly things, with material things, she can remain at that level, at the heart, without yoga. If she becomes confused with worldly things, ambition, it will go back to Manipura. If body identity, sexuality becomes very heavy, it will drop to Swadhisthana. If disease, insecurity happens, it will go back to Mooladhara. But if you can follow three dharma, that is, the rules natural to the female body, without yoga, your Kundalini rises till Anahata, which is natural for you. Same thing, without yoga, very difficult for men. That's why. Even if this is biologically, so women who don't have children, what about them if you ask? Through bhakti, the heart must open. You must feel like a mother to everyone. Then the heart opens. Men can also do it, it's just that it's very difficult for them. But if they can do, for them also, it will rise to the heart. Yes.
And the menstruating women, you said that if they have a shaligram at home, they have to follow certain rituals and all. Without a shaligram also...
Puja room, you should stay away from it.
Should all those
very much
rituals be followed or...
Of course.
Okay.
Every one of the rules in Manusmriti is a science that if you don't follow will impact your health. It's already happening around you. Just see. Keep the puja room closed. If the house is small, keep the puja room closed when there's a woman in the house who's menstruating. Or give her a space that is away from the puja room. In a puja room, prana is pulled upwards. When we're menstruating, prana flows down as apana. If you create that conflict in your body, when it has to go down, if you pull it up, it will create all sorts of menstrual disturbances. Yes. Any other question? Yes.
My name is Shri Endi. I'm from Hoskote. I had a doubt that when we see the draping of a sari, many of them were below the navel and some were above the navel. So which is correct way of draping the sari?
Shastras say the navel must always be covered. This is what the Shastras say. It is not individual opinion. Navel must be covered. The lower garment must reach till the ankle and the breasts must not be exposed. There should be two cloths worn, one in the upper part of the body as the blouse and another in the lower part of the body. In the 9-yard sari style, by default it is tied above the navel. As our intention became less scientific and more sexual, the sari also started going down. Now we have to raise it back up. And if the sari in your sampradaya is not worn between the legs, at least wear the inner garment, which is worn as the kaupinam, as the loincloth, that is necessary. Basically, every time you get dressed, you hold that japmala and see if you're clockwise or anti-clockwise. If you're going clockwise, you're good. If you're anti-clockwise, please wear a single piece of cloth between the legs. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an enlightening and inspiring lecture. Your insights have deepened our understanding and appreciations that we have for our rich Sanatana Dharma. We are grateful for your presence and wisdom you have shared with us today. Thank you so much, ma'am. As we draw this inspiring evening to a close, it's my honor to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made this event a grand success. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to Ms. Sinu Joseph for delivering such an enlightening and thought-provoking lecture on science behind Hindu traditions. Your profound insights and dedication to preserving and promoting the wisdom of Sanatana Dharma have truly enriched our understanding. We are immensely grateful for your presence and thank you for the knowledge you have shared with us today, ma'am. Thank you so much. A special thanks to Yadalam family for their unwavering support and commitment to promoting education, culture, and spiritual growth through the Sai Grace Foundation. Your philanthropic efforts and dedication to social cause continue to inspire us all. Our heartfelt appreciation goes out to the dignitaries who grace this occasion with their presence. Shri K.G. Raghavan, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan; Shri H.N. Suresh, Director of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Your ongoing support and leadership are invaluable to all of us. We extend our sincere gratitude to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, its Joint Director, Mrs. Nagalakshmi K. Rao, for organizing this memorable event. Your tireless efforts and meticulous planning have ensured the smooth running of this program. A special thanks to the students of Gautama Veda Patashala for their beautiful Veda Parayana, setting a serene and sacred tone for this evening. We also thank the organizing committee, volunteers, the staff whose dedication and hard work behind the scenes have made this event possible. Your contributions are greatly appreciated. A special mention and heartfelt thanks to our photographer, Shri Shivram, videography and live streaming by Pradeep and Adarsh, who ensured this event is captured beautifully and shared with a wider audience. We also extend our thanks to Chandru and Sridhar on the sound and lighting department. Finally, a big thanks to our wonderful audience, all of you. Your presence and participation have made this event truly special. We hope you found this lecture as enriching and enlightening as we did. On behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and Yadalam family, I, Arjun Joyce, thank you all for making this event a grand success. We look forward to your continued support and participation in our future endeavors. Thank you and have a wonderful and safe way back home. Namaskara and Shubharatri. Thank you.